Okay, it's already recording. Okay,
All right.
here we go.
Greetings,
Mind of the
people.
mannequins.
Yes. Mind of
Part
the
3.
Preposterous Podcast
Preposterous,
number
positively
3.
COVID,
COVIDosity.
the COVID covenant.
We are the preposterists. Okay? We'll get to that towards the end. We have to establish the coalition
Oh my God.
of preposterists. Okay? And
Postmonium.
and surrealists. We're cops.
God.
Yeah.
Okay?
How preposterous.
How preposterous.
You know, I was
Oh,
a bad
by the way,
idea.
folks, like Man to the Mannequin on Facebook and YouTube.
What's
and
that?
Twitter. On Twitter, it's Mannequins with a K.
Oh man.
I said too much. Whoa. Oh, okay, go ahead.
I want to be able to get Joe to do the
The mind of the mannequin.
the mind of the mannequin.
Joe
Rand,
Kendall.
yeah, you know
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
John got the name.
Yeah,
That's where we got
the only
the
thing I
name.
remember about him is the lizard imitation.
Oh no, he did the
The
mind of the
human
mannequin.
lizard was just blew me away as it worked.
Yeah, he's he's like a major influence. A good friend of mine from high school years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Let's talk about what we left off. We're talking about the Joker. Right.
Wait a minute. Time out.
Okay, time.
Time out. We can't do any of that until we do what we originally said we were going to do. We need to give a tribute to Eddie Van Halen.
Oh,
Okay, we'll start with Eddie Van Halen.
We
Van Halen.
lost a rock legend from our era. And for the youth out there, you guys don't know what you just lost. He influenced a generation of people and invented a whole new way to play a guitar.
Yep.
When
He
came
played his
around,
own way. He
he played his own way, and
yeah.
it revolutionized. I mean, a lot of people have done things on guitars, but the things that he did on a guitar were not thought possible, which shows you that the laws of physics can change.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen.
I appreciate his dedication to the instrument. He was a virtuoso. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
I like his origin story. Because his father owned a record appliance store. Similar. That's kind of where they got the Tom Hanks got the original idea for that thing you do, the appliance store scene.
Yep.
That's Van Halen brothers got their start
Check this out.
in their dad's appliance store.
There's
Music.
a lot of parallel between my history and Eddie Van Halen's history, only not exactly on the same timeline. It's
both dated
Eddie
the
Van
same
Halen.
women?
All the Van Halens, they all went, and everybody in the band, I believe, went to Pasadena College.
Yeah, that's true.
I went to Pasadena
Yeah,
College. And
they're
guess what?
Valley Boys.
Guess what job Eddie Van Halen had while he was going to college?
He worked
Delivering rocks in the news.
No, he was delivering LA Times, just like I did.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
He may have, no, since he was Pasadena, probably worked for a different hub, but, it's a small society, so.
Yeah, he was playing. Van Halen was playing in the early '70s at the at the start
78.
at the
Yeah.
start.
I got COVID espresso here. Go ahead.
Oh,
I remember when they came out because I was just coming off of listening to original Elton John,
Uh-huh.
and before his voice started changing and everything started changing about him, and I had started listening to Queen, and then all of a sudden, here comes this Van Halen with this just insane music, but this raspy guitar singer that just, David
Yep.
Lee Roth. It's like, ooh. I didn't like it at first.
I
but
didn't
I
like
had
it
to
at
go
first either. I had to develop a taste for
the
it.
same way about AC/DC.
Yeah.
It's like, and I had to go back to it because everybody's you got to listen to these guys. And
it was a cool niche.
and then because MTV hadn't started yet.
Oh,
when they did Diver Down and all that, it's like, okay, so I started listening to the music, and then when I heard the guitar playing, it's like, holy crap, how is he doing that? And back then we couldn't see how he did it.
Right.
You didn't see it. And then MTV came along, and you didn't really see anything until they produced 1984. That blew my mind. Hot for Teacher, Jump, and then you saw
Panama.
the stage. Panama, but you saw the stage performance of the lead singer, and then the solos of both of Eddie and Alex. Just wow.
David Lee Roth was actually a very accomplished kung fu practitioner. That's why he had those kicks and those moves.
Yeah, that's what sold it for me, is that he was a showman.
Yeah.
And
he was definitely.
He was the showman. He was a frontman. That was, to me, turned me around to that band.
Them and AC/DC were the prolific party bands. They started that party kind of. Rock and roll.
Like I was explaining before, but the last thing is that I got so heavy into Pink Floyd, and Pink Floyd, that's why they had Laserium,
right.
They didn't have lead singers that came out to a microphone and you looked at them. Everybody who just sat and did their instruments, and you looked at the whole nother psychedelic world that they gave.
Yeah,
that's what started me in my journey. It's like, I want to do that. I want to do Laserium and lights and stuff. I don't particularly like to look. My mom said at one time, I like the way they sing, but I can't watch them perform.
Right.
And that's a lot of people, Celine Dion smacking her chest, and there's a microphone. Technician's worst nightmare. Don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
If you're wearing headphones, you just pop my eardrum,
See, you would be very surprised how good the headphone
I'm not put down Celine Dion. She's got a beautiful voice, love her voice, but can't watch her sing.
Yeah. The wireless headset microphone technology now is so excellent.
Be right back. Keep going.
Yeah. And if you get the top of the line stuff, I worked with when I worked at the place that I work at, dealing with kids with autism, and we did school musicals. We had to basically rent top-notch stuff, because.
Got a question for you.
Sure.
Since you're working with autism kids, and I have an autism child in my family, my granddaughter, step-granddaughter, and she is like 3 grades ahead of my other granddaughter, who is 2 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned a lot that I was just naive about the subject matter.
Yeah.
And you can validate this or not, but autistic children excel in the music, in math,
in the arts,
because they focus, and in outside distractions, they learn to block it out, where the average person, will get sidetracked, and they can focus and come up with some incredible things and learn it and remember it.
Yeah. I'm not going to make any I'll just make generalizations. Is that usually the autistic kids are usually they excel in the arts, whether it be art, drawing, music, and writing. But what they need help on is social skills. In other words, they don't know how to deal in society, for instance.
Well, we figured that out about you. Yeah. That's why we never pointed you at the stage,
Hey,
you had your fair share of moments where you got scared by a crowd and ran out of the stage.
Oh man!
We stopped.
We
moved the kid. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. Don't look that way. Yeah. Look at the wall.
Yeah.
Don't look at the people. The lights aren't bright enough. Don't look. You'd get one look. No, I can't do it.
Tell you something.
You're gone.
The best, and I enjoyed doing limited, the sound for their musicals. I wanted to make their performance the best, and they did a great job.
Cool.
Yeah, they did. Let me see. When I the only thing I got the best equipment I could get for them, for the headset microphones, the kind you you tape onto the face, for the musical theater. You know what I'm trying to say, for theater.
Yeah.
And so they would get the tape, and you would have the thing pulled down right here, and basically, just get them the best performance. And it was hard because there was a lot of times there was money involved, where we had a limited budget, where I wish we would have had, instead of 6 microphones, I wish we had 8 or 12. But they were really good. We rented them. We didn't buy them. We rented them.
Man, see?
He's gonna blow
We rented them. They were
himself
still pigeons, see? Man, they were still pigeons, see?
up. Wait for it to go boom.
Okay, I'd better be careful because I'm outside.
Yeah.
So my voice is echoing. I don't know who's here. So,
Everybody's
You
here.
never know who's there.
yeah. Yeah,
Hello, everyone.
I'm outside. So, anyways, so
Anyway, that's
did you know? Now check this out. Did you know that Eddie Van Halen and Brian May got together and did a project?
yeah.
I posted
Starfleet
that on. I posted that today. The video project. Yeah.
Starfleet. Well, I posted.
Yeah,
I posted. They did a blues thing together,
Yeah.
and then they did the song Starfleet, which was
Seriously,
about.
that really bummed me out.
Yeah.
That really did.
But-
I mean,
The thing is that after they jammed together, you listen to the stuff they did afterward. Brian May started employing more hammer-on technique,
oh yeah.
and Eddie started more
everybody does.
harmonizing on the
You
guitar.
you learn from your peers.
Mhm.
That's just a given.
They
And if
picked
you don't,
up
then
from
you're a
each other.
moron.
Yeah.
Well, no. You, like, for instance, when that hammer-on technique, guess who actually was really the first one to develop it? But it was Emma Chapman.
No, actually,
Probably goes back way, way farther
it
than
goes
that.
back to the 50s.
Oh, I didn't know that. Emmett.
Yes. It goes back to the 50s.
Marty
and-
McFly did it in the movie. I seen it, 1955, November.
No. I forgot the name of the guitarist. I forgot the name of the guitarist. He is a jazz guitarist, and there was one that was really big on doing octaves. He did.
I bet you it went way back to the Delta Blues back in the 30s, if anything.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Because that's where all the stuff got started, and it didn't come out.
Let me explain to you, though, that the hammer-on has to be newer than it can't go too far back because
Because of the Les Paul.
Well,
The invention of the electric guitar.
Because of the electric pickups and that the guitar became more sensitive. I think the Les Paul and the guys who's the guy who created the Strat? I mean, man, those geniuses. 57 Strat. I mean, and the
I'm
Les
looking right now. Who really invented the tapping technique?
Get a lot of porn.
But, you put it like that.
You know who else was really good at the tap technique? Steve Hackett.
I can't believe you just mentioned him because you mentioned a solo between, an album with Van Halen and Brian May. Guess who did an album? It was Steve Howe and Steve Hackett.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's called GTR. It was pretty damn good. I
was so happy that in the first podcast you mentioned Rick Wakeman because he doesn't get enough credit.
Oh shit!
Because
oh my God.
Journey to the Center of the Earth, it was mind-boggling. That was the second album I learned or heard after I was telling Johnny that I was introduced in 1970 whatever by my sister because I used to sneak in and I had Disney records, little 45s, as a kid, but my sisters both had these footstools full of records. And my one sister was classical music, Beethoven, Bach, and all that, Chopin, whatever. And my other sister was into rock and roll. And, of course, younger brother, stand in my room. It's like, whatever. And she came, she goes, if you really want to listen to some music, listen to this. And she puts in front of me, Edgar Winter. Listen to Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I go, what the fuck is this? And I put it on. I was like, oh, that opened my whole. And then she introduced me, of course, to Elton John. This is long before any of the secrets about him came out. So, and we're talking 1972, 73. And it's like, I'm listening to all this stuff, and that's why I made fun of Johnny about, Bay City Rollers. That's what everybody was listening to. Donnie and Marie, the Jackson 5
I used to
Bubblegum
watch
Pop.
this show.
Well,
The
the Jackson,
Osmonds, too.
yeah. It was
And
interesting.
the Brady Bunch.
Oh, the Brady Bunch. Well, they had. I think that in terms of a couple of duet that I really freaked out
Rick
on.
Wakeman, though, that was.
Oh, Rick Wakeman. I mean, there's always been a battle between Rick Wakeman and Keith Emerson, and because they're both at the same level, right? The only thing, the reason why I'm glad you brought this up is because the reason why I liked Wakeman a little higher is because of his interaction with Steve Howe. Just the way of my interaction with Johnny.
Oh, yes.
You see, like for instance, Keith Emerson is a virtuoso keyboardist, and ELP is a trio. The reason why I like Yes better is because
Who?
Yes. I mean, I like Yes a little better. Yes, the band Yes. I liked them better because I liked the interaction between Rick Wakeman and Steve Howe, how they would trade off and do stuff over, these insane harmonies. And that was the first time I ever heard the band, the album Tormato. I mentioned that.
Yeah, that's right.
The very first podcast.
The third album I was introduced was Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Works album.
Yeah, sure.
That was the whole gamut.
Yeah.
And then a 17-minute version of a song called Pirates that I saw in concert with two cannons on stage.
Sure.
That just.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Keith, that's the only reason why I liked that band Tormato with Yes. I never heard anything. First I go to my friend Dan. I go, is this rock and roll? I go, I've never heard anything like this. It was really nuts, and that's what I like, the interaction between Rick Wakeman and Steve Howe. For instance, Carl Palmer is a phenomenal bass player, and he's a really good guitar player, but he's not an Eddie Van Halen or a Steve Howe or he's not a Brian May.
What was sad about
Carl
that time,
Palmer was a drummer, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to right now. If I had heard that, and that influenced me.
That's good Appletini you got going there.
Yeah, it is.
That influenced me to become. I was originally a drummer. In 7th grade, I wanted to be a drummer and went to the music store. My brother was a year ahead of me. He was in the marching band, played trumpet, and my sister played the clarinet. I'm not marching, first of all. I want to drum. Because I've been listening to these rock albums. I'm not playing that other band music, and I'm not wearing a uniform. No way, still won't. But actually, so I got a drum, and I used to have to lug that thing to school. I hated that. I used to try to find places to hide it, along the way, my walking route. It seemed like 2 miles in the snow in the winter. But yeah, I had a drum, and then. Finally, my sister had a guitar, and she wanted to learn like Joni Mitchell, folk music, stuff like that, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So I was listening to all these different music, and I go, why aren't you playing that guitar? You wanted to learn it, and she just never picked it up. That was the guitar that when I met Johnny, it's like I was 21 when she finally, are you ever going to play that thing? Can I have it? And I was 18 when she gave that to me, and I started learning Willie Nelson songs because it was the turn of the 80s, and the 70s music was being fizzled out. They were being pushed out because the whole market was changing to open up for this new MTV thing, which Mike Nesmith is responsible for, by the way.
Elephant Parts.
Hello there.
Elephant Parts.
I said hi to your dog. There's a dog out here. Hello.
You know about that? He's Mike Nesmith.
Yeah.
Oh, he's sweet.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, no.
People don't know that about that. Yeah.
Don't want to drink that.
It's interesting about the monkeys is, they were picked as, hand-picked for a TV show to imitate the Beatles, but, they picked actually Peter Tork. Came from Greenwich Village with Stephen Stills that did it. Go ahead.
The dog wanted to drink my martini.
Well, the dog will get toasted. No.
Hey, check it out.
Okay,
You know what's
I like
funny
the
about?
Monkees. Their songs were great. They're one of my favorite bands.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Check this out. You were saying that you were playing drums, but then you picked
Yeah.
up the guitar.
Well,
You
here's
know
what
that
I finished.
Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen actually.
Switched.
Eddie was the drummer and Alex was
Yeah.
the guitar player.
Yeah, that's
But
exactly what
I
happened.
guess Alex would
Here's
play
the
Eddie's
funny-
drums while Eddie was working. He used to deliver the times like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would, and so they switched. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I was not your normal conformist. We had a band teacher. It was cool.
Okay.
Mr. Lewis was his name. He had to know all the things, but we were seventh graders, unruly kids, and and the drummers were all in the back, and he spent more time teaching
What
the
are
kids
ruly
how to play,
kids?
trying to play the flute or the clarinet. So the clarinet is just, I grew up around squeaking horns and just, oh my God, she's never going to learn how to play that thing?
Mhm.
That was
So
my
check it out.
sister.
Oh, yeah, I could sound
So
terrible and
I have
know
a
how to
drum. Well, if anybody knows my dad doesn't like noise. And here I'm in seventh grade and I got to practice my drum. Well, that lasted about 2-3 days before they figured out, put a towel over the top of your drum head. Still wasn't
Okay.
muffled. And I got the plastic thing. But I finally broke down and pieced together trash cans and made up my own drum set.
Hey, man.
And they felt sorry for me and bought me this used Sears drum kit. Horrible kit. Lasted 1 day.
Yep.
It was
Yeah,
gone.
you get what you pay
It was
for. Okay.
gone.
I've got some history on the tap technique here.
Ooh, tap
Okay.
pick.
Okay, check this out. It actually started in the 18th century. Niccolo Paganini was a violin player,
Oh,
and he started doing that. Okay, now fast forward to the 50s.
What back up. What was that guy's name again?
Paganini.
Niccolo Paganini. He's
He
a
was
well-known violinist.
Yeah.
And
He was,
I
the,
guess
he was the Eddie Van Halen of violin.
violins, yeah. Okay, so then you had George Van Epps.
Played by Tom Holtz.
George Van Epps was the 50s guitar player that used the tap
Okay.
technique. Okay.
Cool.
And then another one named Vittore Camardes, of an Italian doctor. He played guitar and he used the tap technique. And then Steve Hackett of Genesis, old Genesis, used the tap technique.
Sure.
But see, Genesis wasn't known as
Well,
it was
all those other guys. Those are using tap techniques on stringed instruments that weren't amplified. That's what we were getting at. Is that when
Genesis was
Eddie,
more. Genesis was more of a guitar. Steve Hackett's guitar was sort of what do you call it? It was the kind of music where it made various types of moods and themes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the crazy stuff that Steve Howe did with Rick Wakeman.
If you listen to Dance with the Moonlit Night, he starts the solo. That's tap technique, and I stole that kind of idea. Remember when we used to do the song Covenant and the solo? Yeah. I kind of stole. I didn't steal the riff, but I stole that, beginning it with a tap thing like that. That was the influence there. But the thing with Eddie Van Halen is he took the tap technique and made it his own. He played like nobody else played it, and so did Randy Rhoads. Those were to me the two most prolific.
Well, Randy Rhoads would have, if had survived, would have just gone on to do who knows what. But that's the other thing too. Is like you said, I posted the thing with Brian May, but he also did a thing with Ozzy Osbourne at the time. Yeah. So that's back then. Like I said, they were a half a generation ahead of us. And they're only like less than 10 years older than us, or something in our ballpark. But that just was horrible news yesterday.
It was a horrible news. That was terrible news. But his music lives on. It's just like
the thing about it is
He's the Freddie Mercury of guitar.
Yeah,
He's the Freddie Mercury of guitar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
I tried to go see those, like Pink Floyd. I tried to go see those guys more times than I could possibly imagine. And the one time that I finally, in the late 90s, I got ticket. This is when they were Van Hagar.
Right.
And I said, cool, because I loved it when Sammy Hagar came in. That just like that to me. That's when I like David Lee Roth, but he got a little too cocky. But Sammy Hagar is like, he can sing and play too. Brought a whole new dimension to it, and I loved it.
Yep.
So like, I bought $100 seats, gonna go see Van Halen. Had the ticket sitting on my mantle, and just for like 2-3 weeks, somebody broke in the night before and stole my Van Halen tickets, my stereo, and all my CDs.
Where were you at the time?
That was the first time I lived in Tehachapi.
Oh.
Yeah, I had met some people there in that little town that came over one time to hang out, and
that's all it took.
The one person that I met brought over a couple of friends, and they scoped out my place, saw what I had sitting on the mantle, and I was robbed the next day. And I confronted them, and everybody kept telling me, said, you need to go. I forget. This was before Staples Center or anything like that. So I'm trying to remember. They were at the Pacific Amphitheater or something like that. Universal Amphitheater might have been. I don't know. I don't remember exactly. I was just mad that I finally get to see him, and I didn't get to see him.
Right. Yep.
And they said, we'll just show up. And, well, you can't just show up to the concert. You got to buy tickets again and find out who's sitting in your seats. And it just wasn't worth it to it. And so I was so bummed out. And then finally, when later on in 2000, whatever, 3 or whatever, of course, David Lee Roth had gone. The band had broke up because Sammy and them had a falling out. Michael Anthony said, I've had enough of all the drama from all you guys.
Yep.
He started rocking out with Sammy, who is together with him now, Red Rocker.
Yep.
And they're together. That's why they're down in Cabo. But Wolfgang joined the band. Wolfie, that's Eddie's kid.
And he's
a
a drummer, right?
Fine bass player.
Okay.
Alex was still playing drums, but Michael Anthony wasn't playing. So Wolf came in and played bass, all the bass parts. And so having both Eddie and Sammy, and they played a combination of both their songs, just an extra extended album, because it was like the last show that was going to ever happen for Van Halen. And it ended up being the last Van Halen concert. So I felt like it was worth the wait, all the shit that I went through.
Yeah.
But from originally not liking them to wanting to go see them, and it's kind of like the Pink Floyd thing. It's like, man, am I ever going to get to see Pink Floyd? And the closest I ever got is when they finally came to Southern California back in the 90s, and they were at the Rose Bowl there, I believe.
And they did Division Bell? Was that Division Bell?
Division Bell, yeah.
That was great.
Me and Johnny used to listen to that album all the time in the car. It's like,
phenomenal.
Finally, I'm going to go see Pink Floyd. And I don't remember what the circumstances was that I didn't get to go. Something prevented me from going. And cell phones had just come out. And our buddy who we're going to our buddy that we're going to segue into, Richard, the bass player. Yeah, tell the truth. The segue, Richard had a black market cell phone and called me from the concert, and I listened to the Pink Floyd concert on a cell phone. That's the only Pink Floyd concert I've ever been to. Was on a brand new flip phone brick, pirated. I don't know where it came from. I have no idea. Yeah. But our buddy, the bass player for Stormcrow, Richard, who conveniently can't be here today.
That's not.
Well,
folks,
no, we'll have.
he will join us eventually.
You know how he'll join us?
Okay.
Have Elena. He just got a new cell phone, and so I went over to his place to get some. I bought 2 jars of a 24-ounce of the sauce.
And what is it called? It's called a what's a cooking a mama pasta sauce.
I don't know. It's really good.
That's what it's called.
I've been forgetting to bust his balls about it.
Dude, I bought 4 jars of it and had it mailed to me.
Yeah, okay. we're making a we had a tortellinis yesterday, and then this weekend I'm going to use it to make eggs.
Dude. Okay.
He wants the jars back for the next pasta, for the next batch.
Well, okay.
It's going to get the lids off of a Prego can.
All right.
He did that. He posted a picture the other day where there's 1 jar here and 1 jar is about an inch taller. I go, those aren't and they weren't.
Well, we're gonna put it. I'm gonna get. I think I have some pictures left.
Elaine's probably gonna be calling me right now.
I'm sure
I told you not to. I told you not to bust balls on my brother.
Okay, now.
Okay, let's harass her for.
Let's talk about Rich. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
Before we go, it's What's Cooking Mama pasta sauce.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. I bought 4 jars of it, and within 4 days it was gone. I made penne pasta with it, with steak. I mixed it all together. It was incredible. I made pizzas. I took naan bread, the Indian naan bread. I toasted one side, right, in the pan. I put it in a pan, toasted one side, turned it back over, put the sauce on the toasted side, put the cheese, mushrooms, whatever, chicken, whatever. I made different ones. I used turkey pepperoni too. And then I put it in the pan and toasted the other side with a lid on it, so it's like an oven. Within 10 minutes, I had little pizzas that were incredible. And then I also made chicken parmesan with it, which was unbelievable. And what I like about the sauce so much is you can actually taste the tomato.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it is you actually it's not salt. It's not. Because most other pasta sauces you buy in the store, it's salt. You taste salt. That's the first taste, salt.
Oh, it's a ragu.
We might get in trouble for that.
I cannot buy anything else but now Teresa's sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I can't buy anything else. Remember we used to get that food for free, dude?
Yeah.
Well, back in the day.
And she would force it on you. Whether you want it or not, here, sit down and eat. You need to eat.
Remember when I was living in the studio?
Yeah.
He would bring me stuff, and I really appreciate it because it helped me live.
He brought stuff to his studio. I mean, his studio on his house studio. Okay, so Rich. Let me tell you about Rich. Okay.
Okay, you wanted to tell a story about him. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so 1982. And after I graduated from high school, I screwed around for 6 months, messing around, and then I went to Pierce College as a music major. Okay, and, I don't know why. Okay, music major. So I went there, and I was in harmony class, and I went to the and there was this guy named Doc Eskelin. He was the PhD there. I was teaching music harmony, and so he was doing lectures on music harmony, and I saw this big dude sitting in the back, and I went over there and sat next to him, and I started talking with this guy, and I go, hey dude, check this out. And I was making noises in the back, like this. I was going like that, and then
you gotta get closer to the mic. Get closer to the mic. There you go.
Really loud, and then he was cracking up, and then I would go with the Doc Eskelin. Doc Eskelin was wanting to go, what the hell? Who is that?
Doc Eskelin wasn't that what Mr. Max Miefna was?
That's right.
Mr. Max Webster was okay.
Max Webster.
Okay.
Because he was this middle-aged excellent professor, but he was always checking out the young chickies that were
Why
going.
Not?
Why not, man?
What's wrong with that? Good to be healthy, right?
Yeah, that's right. I really appreciate that. And anyway, he goes, hey Steve. I go, we introduced each other, At that time, Richie had a big, huge beard. I mean, like he looked like Dan Haggerty, with long hair, and he was 20 and I was 19, and he goes, "Hey, you want to go out and you want the van and party out?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." And so in between harmony class and in between harmony class and musicianship, or it was another class, and
ear training.
Yeah, it was ear training, musicianship.
In between those two classes, that's called no class.
Yeah, well, I know it was during the no class time. During this no class time, we went out to remember Paranoia, his van Paranoia. That was the same band that bumped the guy's mirror. Remember the story about Rich? I told him he threw somebody over.
Yeah, threw the guy over the.
I never saw that, man. I've never seen anybody fly like that. It was unreal. But anyway, I went out there.
You know who the guy was? That was Tony Robbins. He's a motivational speaker now.
Yeah. He had some of the rich ganja. And I went back and I got everything on the test wrong. I got like every single one on the test wrong, But then after
that's the mind of the mannequin's keyboard player. He couldn't pass a harmony test.
But right after that,
but he could play. He could play.
Yeah. So Rich started coming up. He was a guitar player.
Uh-huh.
So he came up and we started playing up at my little studio at my dad's place. And that was in 1982. That was before I met you and Paul.
That was a year before.
Yeah, and it was a year after I met Howard Roth.
Right.
So at that time, Howie, I told Howie, I go, "Look, dude, I met this guitar player named Rich," and so he set up his stuff at the.
I got to walk and talk.
Okay. His drum kit was set up. His drum kit was set up at the studio, and that was when. And so right now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you. We did a series of recordings, and I'm going to show you a recording. My first recording with Rich and Howie.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, cool.
This is 1982. This is a year before I met him.
This is history, folks. History in the making here.
Oh, this is
in the
Richard
meantime, we're gonna go back to the What's Cooking Mom and Pasta Sauce. They're also coming out with pre-made dinners in a bag, and they're delicious. Go ahead.
All right, this is myself, Rich, and Howie. 1982.
1982.
1982, yeah.
See?
Yeah, see?
That was back in the day, see? Oh, that was awesome. Wow.
Done on the dough quarter.
Oh, I remember this. I heard this.
Kind of hard to hear. There we go. Funny you mentioned the move. I just got a Guitar Center catalog with some new moves.
Black Sabbath meets Deep Purple.
Having ear trouble. I almost broke mine just now. I'm wiggling this. Okay, now.
Howie was 16.
Yeah, I really have a headache. Oh, sorry. I'm teasing. Yeah, you gotta have a sense of humor. Life is just nothing without a sense of humor.
Yes.
That was far up, man. That was so awesome.
I would love to see.
I mean, I'm sure that it was, we had partied massively, and then we did that song. But
I would love to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker dance to that.
Oh shit! Yeah. And then, okay, of course, and then right after that, Jam with Richard a bunch of times, and then in '83, I think I recorded that like in the later part of '82, and it was the early part of '83 where I met you and Paul, and you guys came over, and Howie's drum kit was set up for this session. In other words,
I remember that. He had the Gretsch set up in the living room.
Well, no. This was set up. This we recorded this in my back practice room.
Oh, the cave.
Yeah, the cave. And
I remember that room.
It was set up a few weeks after in the new year. I think I met you in January of '83. It was really early in '83.
No, didn't we meet in like November or December of '82?
It could have been. It could have been.
That's what happens when you get old, folks.
It was around that time, but I can truthfully tell you that this drum kit that we did, you, Metal Block, and the three other songs, they were in the studio that recorded this session.
Okay.
It like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks after that.
Do you have Love and Evermore and Mr. Max Webster from back then? We recorded it a couple times.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Those are the first songs that I was introduced to. You guys gave me.
Yeah. That right there, and then that was Paul Bernstein. I mean, that guy's a good musician.
Yes. In fact, I still have.
The demo had Love and Evermore, Max Webster, Mad King,
and Circus Man.
Circus Man,
jeez.
Carnival Man.
Carnival
Man. Like Carnival.
Oh my God.
I mean, Circus Man was.
Don't get me started on that, dude.
I mean, well, that originally was. So what we'll do is next time we get together, I'll have a series of the Stormcrow songs that we can
still have all this. You haven't gotten rid or lost them,
I no, I have them all. I mean, I have a lot of different recordings and stuff. What I would like to do is I'd like to show the Stormcrow stuff, the stuff that's not on the Mind of the Mannequins album.
Right.
Okay, and then
I was telling Johnny I had an idea since you were going from Stormcrow to the Mind of the Mannequins,
right?
And an idea for a transition for the name of a song. How did I put it, Johnny? I go.
Oh shit, I don't remember.
Storms are coming. Storms are coming. You might like crow, or something. Storms are coming. They like crow.
Something or something like that.
They eat crow. Something. It's a wordplay.
It'll come back.
Storms are coming. Let them eat crow. They might like it.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do is I want to show the. Now, what happened? It was interesting. when I first.
I'll be right back.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
When what happened was, John, when right after we this was discussed in the last podcast where we talked about how I told Rich, remember I go right after Albert passed away, we decided to get the band together, didn't we? We started to get our act
Yes, but there's some things that happened in between that.
Yes, there were.
There were. I remember now. I thought about it.
That's when I first got the M. Dude, I bought that M1. I brought that.
I'm talking before that. There was.
Oh,
remember
well,
when? Remember when I was living in the car?
Yeah, you and Marvin.
Right. But just before that, that was when we had the experience with the sun on the ground.
Yes, that's right. That's crazy shit.
And that's how I ended up in the car. Because I'd moved out of my apartment. Or I moved out from my parents when I was 18.
Right.
And I went to live up on a street called Salem Drive. And I lived there for about a year. Maybe less. Could have 6 months to a year. And then I moved back in. And then we saw the sun on the ground. Now, I have that song, Alien, which talks about that. But we'll get to that later. But that's what the experience
Yeah, we'd like to get to that later. I'd like to get that on Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
Okay.
I still have. The thing is I want to re-record it. And I already have it registered with CSAC. I have to go back into it because I made a mistake on it, and it's taking forever. But I might have to get with my representative at CSAC to fix it.
These are the new Moogs they've got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know something. When you just showed that, Randy, it's
$2,000.
I like that kind of stuff, but I'd like to be able to get that old mini Moog, but that sucker would go out of tune. It would go out of tune every 3 months, and I didn't have a job, so I got pissed off every time it went out of tune.
Yeah.
Steve, this is. I love. Dude, please let me with this. This is like Steve wouldn't work. Okay, he would spend all his days
I would work with Rich. I would work.
No. Yeah, you'd work. No. But
anybody that works with Rich, you didn't work. You worked, but you didn't get paid, or you got paid.
You got paid, but
you got paid. You got paid in a weird way.
It was one of those things. It was kind of like you had to be there.
You ate a lot of Taco Bell, that's for sure.
Taco Bell and Chinese food. It depended on where you were working. But Steve would do this. I remember this. You would go get a job, make just enough money to fix his keyboards, then quit.
And then quit.
Fix his keyboards.
That's right. That's what I did for years.
Nothing wrong with that.
For years.
Hey.
And then you do, but everything changed when we got together with Stormcrow for the first time, because what happened was when Rich got those Korg M1s, that was a whole new technology. They never went out of tune. They were the keyboard still didn't go out of tune. I mean the new digital technology from the late 80s was just
the only problem with those is the dust that gets collected over years.
Well, yeah, I mean that goes without saying, but those that
you would play and it'd be like the Addams Family dust is flying around him.
Yeah, well, it made it possible.
It gave me the idea for the smoke machine.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Those M1s made Stormcrow possible.
Yes, they did.
Well,
I was able to do.
There was a lot that happened before that.
You see, Randy, the keyboards that you just showed me. What happened was, if you wanted to get a full-blown sound in the 70s and the 60s, like what Rickman did when he went on tour with Yes and Tony Banks, they would have to carry around 7 or 8 keyboards.
Yeah. I actually saw an old video. I mean, I was surprised that somebody pulled it archive, and you're right. They did. They had 7 or 8 synthesizers, and they were like homemade synthesizers.
So they weighed a ton.
And they weighed a ton, and they took up the entire stage, and it was filmed in a studio with a camera way up in the corner, filming down on everybody, because that's the only way you could get the link. And they're moving around, and they never broke the song. In other words, there was never a break. You know, you had you were playing with, like you do, you play with one hand and then you reach over and you move over, and that's how they were playing these things. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Nowadays everything's like, push.
Well, in a little box.
Screen. Well, what happened was that the Korg 2 Korg M1s, and I had that the Korg, I think it's called the SD1, 88 keys, weighted action, sounded like a real life piano. It was just phenomenal. And so we're able to get Stormcrow because we can do the prog rock now with all the incredible songs that they had for even for 1988.
Well, and so check it out.
It was incredible.
Remember, I ended up getting married.
Oh, yeah.
My son was already born, and I ended up getting married.
Yeah. Okay. That was during the Albert times.
What ended up happening is remember, I moved to Reseda.
That's right.
I lived in Reseda.
In that house.
And then, you know how we got back in touch, dude? Because we kind of fell out of touch there for a little while. Remember that? Remember how we got back in touch? I do. You started going to the church that my dad went to.
Oh. And that's where no, that happened a little before that, because when you and Cindy were living in that house, Cindy was Albert's, I met Albert in the church. And what happened was Cindy was Albert's, what do you call that? Caretaker.
Yep.
And so Cindy met Albert through me, and I met Albert at the church. So that
Albert moved in with us.
Yeah. That was in 85, 86.
Somewhere in there. No, actually, Kane was already born, so it was after 87.
Well, no, Albert knew you. He had actually come to a couple of early Stormcrow rehearsals at my dad's place when we were doing Love and Evermore. And he really liked what he heard.
Yep.
And then, that's before the M1s came around, the M1s. Yep. And then you guys had moved to that house in Chatsworth when Albert, so that Cindy can watch Albert. And that's when
well, actually it was Reseda.
Yeah, Reseda. That's right. Reseda. And then Albert
it's all the same.
Yeah, Albert passed away, and then when you played The Ignorance Run Wild at his funeral, it's when we decided to really get serious with the band.
And The Ignorance Run Wild is on the Mind of the Mannequins right now.
Yes.
But this is the later recording, and it will be re-recorded.
I remember when you introduced me to the privateness of that song. It's like, when you put that song out? And it took you forever.
It took forever.
But you know what? It took forever for a reason, because it's very relevant now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's the way I look at it. You might have a different opinion about it.
We have the luxury of having songs that are relevant, that stay relevant.
I've been playing Awaiting just to listen to. I wake up, have my coffee, because you know how much I love that song. It's very passionate to me and personal, because I can relate to it, and because I know the meanings, because I dude, what does all this mean? And it's like, that's the thing about it, is you have to listen to the words, the lyrics, and the way they're written. It's kind of a puzzle to decipher, but once you do, you're enlightened.
Yeah.
And then the way that it's composed, you're telling a story narrative, but behind the story narrative, you have backup harmonies. So you've got two stories going on, and that's why it's two songs: Awaiting and The World.
Yep.
You're waiting while you're in the world, and you're watching this holy shit show that's going on, and you're waiting for whatever.
Right.
I'll just leave it at that.
Well, okay, so
Common man down, sit on the world like a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
With money machines and a number thing, I'll make them terrorize, apologize, then compromise.
I don't want to. I mean, if
Are you sad, Steve?
Well, no, I'm scared. Because
Stevie,
everything.
There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing to be scared about.
But it's perfectly normal to be scared, but you don't have to let the fear rule you.
No, what happened 6 months ago, when everything closed down, I was all these started coming out to the forefront again.
Yep.
We talked about that 30 years ago.
Well, that's the reason why right after that happened, I started, I contacted Johnny after a number of years. Right after the pandemic began, I'm going, oh, dude, it's
happening.
It's part of the story.
everything we were talking about back then.
Yeah, remember I
happen
had to and so no matter what, we'll talk about this another as well as it gets up there. But so right after Albert passed away, Johnny played the song. I get together and Johnny, I go, dude, let's get this serious. I have a talk with Rich, and I go, Rich, dude, I go, we're getting the band together, Stormcrow, and we would like for you to play bass.
That was when.
Okay, that time we didn't have Howard at the time though, because Howard was jamming with Petey's band.
Pandemonium.
No, not Pandemonium. That was Petey's band called. He was in a band with Petey. It was Howard, Petey, and another guy. So I didn't see Petey for years until like 1980 until the earthquake in 1984 when we started. Okay, so or 1992. That was when was the Northridge earthquake?
94.
January 94.
Okay, we were doing
January 18th, 1990.
We were doing recordings. Didn't we record? Didn't we?
Where's Waldo? I want to know where Waldo is.
We were recording.
Who's got that?
No. Okay. No. What happened was now after we
serious. I want to know who's got it.
I'm sure Pat Lighting does. Well,
check it out, dude.
Yeah.
Remember, that's when I got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to touch on a subject. Okay, that goes directly to this. Our first podcast, our first one, where it was just you and me, Stevie.
Right.
And you told that story where you mumbled the guy.
Mumbled the guy?
You said, I want to mumble you.
We can't say that word because we
can't say that other word.
Yeah.
I can do it. Want me to do it?
We have to give context for the people out there. There are certain words that will flag you on certain social media if you use them.
And
you can say it here.
The thing is that they didn't pay attention to that it was in the context of telling a story.
No, just the fact that the word was printed. It was a printed word.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And boy, they threw me in. Social jail.
Well, let me tell you something. That is the subject of many of my newest songs.
Okay, check this out. This out.
So,
remember how you said? I remember you wrote back to me. So they blocked you for 3 days for something I said 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now let's go to when I got divorced. There was one particular. Remember that night that you got the call to come look for me, and I was walking around.
That could have been any night, Johnny.
You got a call. You got a call.
The debris.
You got a call, and it was to come look for me because I left the house because the police were called. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Now check. Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. The thing was. Check this out. That night, I ended up getting arrested. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I did. I got arrested. Okay. Make the long story short.
Indecent exposure.
Now check this out. No.
Indecent composure.
Oh,
indecent composure. Yes. I was arrested for something I didn't do. Okay. Is what happened. Now check it out. Check it out.
Checking it out.
We ended up going. It ended up going to the district attorney, and it got work. Don't say that. Be careful.
Can't say that word either.
No. Let's see. I'm not going to edit it out. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they do.
This was a whole other platform. I'm not worried about the podcast.
Okay. Now check this out.
I don't care. I'll fight it.
I'll
fight it.
No. It's still there. It's still there on YouTube. So screw Facebook.
Anyways, it's on YouTube.
Let me finish this. Okay. So this thing happened. It went to the district attorney. It never went to court. The district attorney decided there was nothing to do with it. Okay. Now, because it didn't go to court, when you go to court and you, like, say, for example, you get in trouble, you go to court, the court tells you you need to do this program and that program, you do the program, and then everything gets dropped, okay? What that's called is that's called the disposition. Since it never went to court, there was no disposition. Fast forward 30 years, I get my new job, right? I go to my new job. My new job is in a location that you have to pass a background check to be able to
go back all the way to kindergarten and even before that. They go back through your parents.
They go back to everything. Now check this out. That incident made it that I could not go to work. Luckily, I worked for a great company that found another place to put me in the meantime. So because I didn't get in trouble for what I didn't do, I wasn't allowed to go to work until I had the record sealed, which cost me $3,500 to do.
It's interesting that you bring that up.
This is what I say to all these rioters and all these idiots out there causing trouble. This shit will follow you for life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to segue on that.
You might be all fucking happy about yourself. You think you're fighting for some fucking cause, which it's all a bunch of bullshit anyways. It's going to follow you forever.
I got red flagged for making a pun, which I do. I'm punny. And the fact, because we posted the podcast on YouTube, which got blocked. They blocked him and Johnny in jail. And I made a comment on something because of a comment you said in the podcast. I just made a comment, a reference. I made a reference. I didn't even quote. I just did the little thing you did and said a word, and they shut me down, locked me up. I couldn't do that. But this is the ironic thing. He just said something that happened 30 years ago followed him to the present. When I first met you guys, I had a top secret security clearance.
Yeah.
And when I went back to work for NASA and one of those top secret security projects came up that they wanted me to work on, I couldn't get one because I was associated with you guys.
Oh, well.
I sat in the office with an FBI agent for 2 weeks straight. That's unheard of.
Why? Because oh my God,
because
we're freaks, dude.
We're
freaks of nature.
They had paperwork on me this big sitting on the desk, and I won't mention the name of the FBI agent, but they had a ritual. She'd sit there. It was a female. Every morning, she had a ritual. Put her badge. Show me her badge. Flip it down on the table. I go, have you changed since yesterday? No, I'm required to do that by law. Oh, okay. I just, which would you like me to call you? Of course, I'm going to mess with her, So I know exactly why I'm here. I'm working. What I'm doing has nothing to do with the secret project. I work with communications. I make sure that you two can talk to each other. I control buttons and switches. I'm not sitting there recording nothing or listening, but it's a whole rigmarole.
Yeah, I know.
It's the ironic story about it is I spent 2 weeks, 8 hours a day talking about my life story, because to get to the certain point is they wanted me to tell who are these people. You worked here for 2 years, you got married here, you had kids here, came to California, you worked for a security company, you still had a secret clearance because of confidentiality for clients or whatever, that's part of that. Then all of a sudden you dropped off the face of the earth. And who are these people? And they had all your names. I go, they're just, coworkers, I go, this guy used to work with me, we stayed friends, and then I met him and I met him. In fact, I worked for him. He's a contractor in the Valley. He's a straight up guy, Richard, he put me to work, and so, I had danced around that, and the whole time is, it's like I said, it's already there, and they want to make sure to see if you're going to lie.
Yep.
Tell a lie.
That's all that it is. That they,
and I'm getting paid just
tell the truth.
Tell the truth. I figured it this way: is like I'm going to milk the shit out of this, because normally they would interview or not interview you and just send you away. But being me, they decided, okay, we're going to just for 2 weeks. And after that 2 weeks, she was so glad to get rid of me.
Well, yeah.
This is the problem. The problem is we're all very independent thinkers.
Here's the kicker.
That's the problem.
The day that they had to do the test flight, the guys that were cleared top secret clearance were out sick. Both of them. And I had to go to the control room and do all the checkouts. And it was a big hoo-ha-ha. I'm not supposed to. I didn't get security clearance. They had to get special permission from the higher-ups.
There can always be a way around it. There is always,
they're going to scrub
Steve,
a $50 million
glad you're
block.
the job you're doing. It's a lot less complicated.
One of the reasons why I'm doing the job I'm doing is that to prevent. You see, I was going toward after 1997, when it sort of just collapsed. Stormcrow just collapsed. 98, 99, 2000. I decided, to get I wanted to maybe change direction and get a degree in history, or
you did your solo project.
Well, no.
That was later.
I went to college part time as I was working at
He mentioned 97. I was
from 98
band together.
Yeah, from 98 to about 2006, I was going to college and working on my bachelor's degree, and I got tired of the bullshit because I was there.
So you were going to school from 82 to 97?
No.
College?
82 and 83 was my college time, and I just completely flubbed it. And then,
watch us get flagged for flub.
I went from
There we go. That's a new song. Flagged for flub.
I went from 1999 to 2006. I was a straight A.
I like that. Flag for flub.
Yeah. I was I was, but I noticed that in being a history major that you're talking about, you're studying about people who actually were independent and they did something, and I didn't want to spend my life reading about people who did something. I wanted to be the person that did something.
You wanted to be one of those people that did something.
Yeah, and so I said, forget.
So you're a teacher now. You teach children, and they lock you in the room from the inside.
Well, the thing about that is that because I don't have to. You see, you guys have maybe never worked in the education industry. It's a bureaucratic.
Everything is bureaucratic.
Let me tell you something.
It's educational,
especially now.
But I'm able to go to teach them directly stuff where I don't have to worry about doing the paperwork.
You're actually working with human beings, Stevie.
Yep.
We're dealing with the moron majority of the world.
Oh.
Yep.
But anyway, this job that I'm still working at actually is no.
Johnny, you're probably gonna be fired tomorrow.
I probably will. Luckily,
it's a no stress job because so I was able to from 2000 until now for 20 years.
You know what, Stevie?
I was able to do a bunch of cool stuff music.
Let me say something. This is the thing, is that they need independent thinkers like you. That's what they need, and music is a great way.
Well, yeah.
To get that point across. The thing is, they can never take your music from you. That's in your head. That's in your soul. That's in your heart. That's everywhere.
Well,
they can't take that from you.
No, they cannot.
And the thing is right now, okay, what was it, Winston Churchill, that if you don't have any enemies, you haven't done anything worth doing. Something like that.
We need to hear a song about now.
Okay, well, I know. I tell you what. Listen.
There you go.
What I would like to do is this: I would like to sort of wrap this up and then plan for the next one we can do. This is what we're going to do. Basically, I'd like to explain what happened after we went around. We discussed this last podcast. We went around. We discussed how Richard rented the room there in Canoga Park.
The warehouse.
And then we started rehearsing, and we were rehearsing, Randy, and I missed this so much. We were rehearsing
4 days a week.
We were working full time, and then rehearsing 4 hours a night.
Oh, yeah.
4 days a week.
5 days a week.
Oh no, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was hooked from the get go.
And
remember I was working at that wood shop.
Yeah.
Then I got laid off.
Yeah.
And
One
then I
thing,
went to work with Randy.
Never, ever give him your brand new 12-string guitar to play and sneak up behind him
and put a fuzzy thing.
See the fuzzy thing on him.
And say Spider.
And while he's strumming the guitar and it's making a thing roll down his arm, and as soon as it gets into his peripheral vision, I go, Spider. And he goes, and throws my brand new 12-string across the room in that studio.
I felt so bad.
Me and my practical jokes, and that one, karma bit me. It's my fault.
What happened to the guitar?
It didn't hurt the guitar.
Didn't hurt the guitar.
Okay, well, during that,
it landed flat.
So what happened was like during those times, then that's when we met.
E flat.
Yeah. Well, that's when we rehearsed the songs, and that's when I think in '89 we went over there and met Pat Lydon for the first time at SPL Studios.
We had Pete was our drummer.
Yeah, he was our drummer right there. Pete.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
And he was a really good drummer. But
I never met him.
You never met Pete.
Yeah.
That's right. You weren't there yet. I still had to start working at West Tech Security.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone now. They're what are they now?
They're
ADT.
AT&T.
They went to Honeywell and turned into ADT.
No, well, they started out. Here's the kicker, because Stevie's gonna like that. They were originally Westinghouse, and you know who Westinghouse was? Tesla.
I worked for Alarm Company for a month.
Yes. That's right.
I did like I did before. I worked for a month or a month and a half, and I made enough money to buy the Chapman stick.
And for those of the people that don't know about West Tech Security, of course, John and I, we worked for them. Our lot that we worked in, or our office that we worked out of in Van Nuys, was right next to where Industrial Light and Magic started and produced Star Wars.
Star Wars, yep.
Yep, in parking lot across the street.
Didn't we install the alarm there?
Yeah.
After they'd moved out, right?
No. What you're remembering was there was an alarm installed there, and because I was a service tech in Virginia, and I had the technology of what Los Angeles was just now getting out in the market, we were upgrading, and I was already on that system for 2 years out in the field in Virginia as a test company.
So you knew.
So you and me were going over there, or everybody was going over there and rewiring the old system. And every day I'd get a phone call from service guys. Hey man, how's this thing work? You guys are the installers. I go, do what I did, figure it out. There's a book that comes with it. Anyway.
That's a whole other world right there.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so now we're talking, and so it was in '89 that we went over there and
the studio in Chatsworth. Now, let me tell you about that studio.
Well, we went over to the Pat Lydon studio to record and do our first serious recordings with Pat, who was a really good sound engineer.
Yes.
And I'm doing actually some stuff with him recently. I'm doing
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
You know what he's doing? He's doing an album that is music that was the bassist was recorded 30 years ago when we in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And he wants me to.
That's 40 years ago.
Yeah, and Johnny, it was on 8-track, and he took the 8-tracks, I believe, and stuck them back onto Pro Tools, and he wants me to redo the keyboards or the keyboards in those songs.
Awesome.
And so it's from those. It was from the very 8-track that we recorded. We did Storm Crow's first recordings. So it was cool.
Wow.
So next time, this is what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have some odd years, and I'll have some of that.
The Stormcrow record.
Stormcrow record, and then we're gonna have Stormcrow live, and then we'll get together. And I was kind of thinking what we could do one podcast with the Stormcrow Sommeliers to discuss each of the songs.
Yes.
Then we can have one with a that has the live with that had all the entire crew there.
Oh God.
Yeah. We have to have a discussion about that too, because there was a point there after Paul left the lead singer's position that you guys had the longest time of figuring out how to do lead vocals. Well, Johnny tried it, and Johnny tried it and about blew up his lungs.
Well, no, but we had this one guy. He was a DJ.
But I'm not a lead singer. Let's put it that way.
Remember that?
But you tried. But what? Tim Allen?
It was Moni. Moni was one guy.
Moni. I loved
Tim
Moni.
Allen.
Moni was awesome.
It was Tim, right?
Tim. We had Tim for a while. Yeah.
And Moni didn't
we had
want
the
to join
backup
the
singer,
band.
Cindy. Remember her?
And Maureen.
Cindy.
Maureen. I'm doing work with Maureen right now.
Maureen, two beautiful ladies.
Yeah, she's got a good vocalist.
Gorgeous.
I drew a picture of Maureen. I still have her
both.
portrait in my album.
I have a lot of
Maureen is one of my favorite people. She is so awesome. She is so
Didn't
cool.
I send you a picture of her on stage when we were doing the Roxy or something like that?
We were doing Mancini's.
Mancini's.
Yeah, and she also, I think she did something with us at the Roxy too. But
what's that little hole in the wall joint at the corner of Sepulveda and Van Nuys?
That
was
Bourbon Square.
Bourbon Square.
Square. Yeah.
That place is gone. You know what's there now? It's a car wash.
Okay.
Or no. It's a Jiffy Lube.
Yeah. It's right. It was right there on the corner. Well, the Jiffy Lube was already there. It was right next to it.
Yeah. Okay. It's gone.
We're jumping around, man.
But you know what?
But the reason I brought it up is because you had mentioned before that everybody that came into the band brought something of quality and talent, and that was one of the things.
Well,
of course, for a while you had the violin player Eric. Was his last name Eric Price?
Eric Maitlis.
Eric Maitlis.
He was an incredible musician, dude. That guy was.
Yeah, he was incredible.
He was playing violin.
He was good, but
3 or 4 years old.
The thing about him, he wanted to take the band in his direction.
Yeah.
What I didn't like about him was that everybody had stuck in years into the band, and he joined up and he wanted to take he wanted to be the dude.
Well, the thing is, he's such a great musician.
Parts. He's playing your parts too.
And he's this is the thing is musicians we're such a freaked out animal.
You're a cacophony of wonder.
We're okay. Anybody, I'm going to put this out there right now. Anyone that wants to start a band, mandatory. This is mandatory. You got to see the movie Spinal Tap before you do. Okay?
Because I thought you were going to say something about not tagging the backup singers.
Well, now you don't do that either.
Remember,
no.
I saw
I never
do that. I never had the luck. I'm sorry.
Never do that.
Yeah, no. I tried. It never worked. It never worked. It was always somebody else.
It was so funny.
Dude. I heard a story about Stevie. I heard a story about you that a couple of very heavy girls.
Yeah, that's what I got. The heavy girls.
Full-figured girls were like all over you, and everybody praised you for it. I got a massage, and everybody was upset with me. Now what the hell is that? Come on.
And then I get accused for stealing the chicks from the band. Say,
yeah,
the roadies aren't supposed to get.
That's right.
And I told you I'm not a roadie.
Who do you think you are?
Yeah. You guys are cowards. Is what you were.
I'm just a freak. Look, it was for them. They come up and they go, Steve, could you?
Remember Blackie?
Could you give me piano lessons? I hate it.
You really want to go down that road?
Yeah, they always want me to give them piano lessons.
Stevie, I want piano lessons too, Stevie.
Yeah, piano lessons.
She got a lesson, didn't she, Johnny?
Okay.
Blackie, yeah, remember her?
Oh, Blackie. Oh, she kicked me a few times.
Well, the thing is, you asked her to beat you up,
Yeah,
she did.
So she started kicking him. He was laying on the ground. She came over and started kicking him. Oh God, these are good stories, folks.
Yeah.
These are really good stories. We got to come around to that. We got to come back around.
I wish
to
we had memory vision that we could project what we went through and saw, and for the viewers could actually see the menagerie
It
of
wasn't.
just.
Okay.
Let me put it this
what
way.
we'll do is-
I'm glad we didn't have cell phone cams, and I'm glad we didn't have back then, because we would be all over the place.
Well,
I'm telling you, we oh God.
all right.
I mean,
So what we're going to do is we're going to have the next couple of podcasts. We'll have live Stormcrow live,
okay.
and then
Yes.
I have some live recordings with Paul singing.
Okay, you need to send me these recordings. I will edit them in. So
In other words, what you're
viewers
saying
can
is, well,
see it. Okay.
in other words, what you can do is we can say the best way to do it would be, like, for instance, to you, if you can stick them in without playing over the speaker, we can get a better sound quality if you were to do that.
I can. I've got some software. I can.
He's got the technology. We can rebuild him.
So
We
basically,
got the technology.
what you
We
would
can
do-
rebuild it.
What you
We
would
can
do
make it
is-
better than it was. Better.
Well, yeah,
Stronger.
Dial it in.
you can
Faster.
synchronize it. You can synchronize it to, in other words, I'll play it on here, but you can also stick it in, and then you would turn off the volume.
That's what she said.
I did it for you. Had a mouthful of smoke. I had to get that in.
Okay, well, you know.
Okay.
Anyway,
Do me a
Before
favor.
we
I
go,
gotta-
before we
Dude, I
go,
gotta get going. I gotta get up early tomorrow.
we need to buy you another T-shirt because you've been wearing the same T-shirt 3 podcasts in a row.
This right here is
no,
my
no, no,
nice.
no,
This
no,
is the
no
name-
t-shirts. We
this
gotta
is
have the same
name-
shit.
They're all gray though. They're all gray.
No, they are grays, blue
They're-
gray.
Yeah.
Look.
Ooh.
Yes, they're all. I don't want to talk about
Wait.
those.
Before we go, I want to talk about how we all identify with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Because, okay, I love Heath Ledger's Joker, and I love Jack Nicholson's Joker. They're all great. But Heath Ledger, that movie, it showed the development. It showed the fall, I can't find the word right now.
You're talking about the new one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Joaquin
The reason
Phoenix.
He was a nice guy. Who helped children. He
And-
enjoyed helping children out, and the children
he
loved
just
him.
And he just got shit on. Okay? I mean, talk about getting shit on. Okay? We all been shit on. Okay? And the thing is, what I love is that we're all still here.
The way
We're all still
the way
here.
you said that, I like.
We're still alive. We remember stuff, even though it's not real well. We remember stuff. But the thing is just
we definitely remember stuff, and I
the
wish
way
we didn't.
the way he descended. That's the word I was looking for. He descended
yeah.
into madness.
We were talking prior to we were recording, the comparisons, and I have a friend in California where you guys are at, or one of you's at,
Mhm.
and he's a big Joker, and me and the whole Batman thing.
Yeah.
And he was asking me, what was your opinion about the Jokers? And I go, I don't watch any of the previews, and it has to be, the bar's set pretty high.
Right.
This particular Joker, because of the way they did it, it didn't incorporate the whole Batman into it.
Right.
It showed the development and, like you said, the fall of the innocent man into madness,
Sent into madness.
and became
Sent into madness. There's a song.
became a deranged individual with mental illness.
And that's
And
what's happening right
Let
now.
it go.
There's a whole part of
Released it.
society that's doing
Exactly.
Yeah.
that. Yes.
One part that keeps that really sticks to mind is
The stairs.
no, not the stair. The dance on the stairs is classic. I mean, I
I could
But
totally
what-
relate to it.
Well, what part?
The
part
people
is
in
this.
our area are tired of it because that's like a Snapchat thing
Yeah,
now, or
sure.
Instagram
No,
thing.
people do the dance down the stairs, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's popular.
Yeah.
Like-
The another part besides the stairs was the little guy went into the apartment who Joker had an affinity for, the little person.
Yeah.
And the guy that had him fired, that big dude that had him fired, he stabs him in the neck, and he kills the dude. that guy, and that little guy is going all fearful. He's all freaked out, and he goes, Joker goes, oh, it's all right. I really like you. I really appreciate you. You really appreciated me. And then the little guy goes, could you get the door for me? Okay. And Joker opened the door for his little buddy.
My favorite part actually was the Tonight Show ripoff with Robert De Niro, because he's so controversial, and I know, Johnny, you have an opinion about him, and I do too. I think certain celebrities should not talk.
Well,
when it comes to politics.
Okay, you know what?
But this is hold on a minute.
Go ahead. I'll hold the thought.
He's such an iconic actor, and he's known for playing, typecast certain kind of roles. He deliberately took on that role and played an asshole. He plays an asshole evening talk show host.
Right.
And it kind of paralleled the real interview that Joaquin Phoenix had with David Letterman. He's already admitted that he was in character in that interview. But the Joker just said, you know what? You're a dick. Boom. And I go,
I have a question for you. I didn't know about this. Are you telling me that there was an interview with Joaquin Phoenix with Letterman that was the same?
He was in character, and he was like freaked out.
For what? For what character?
The Joker. Wasn't it the Joker or some other movie? I don't remember.
It was before that, but he was he's method acting, but he stays in character because they're doing press junkets during the making and after the movie, whatever. But this happened to be during production, so they get Joaquin Phoenix, and he's not known for doing interviews too much. And that's what's ironic about Robert De Niro. De Niro hates doing interviews because he's so like, yep, nope. He's a bad interviewer. Mm-hmm. Well, this is before Letterman went off the air, so he gets Joaquin Phoenix on there and just starts playing with him. And Joaquin was a nervous kid. His brother had just died.
He was that young.
Yeah, and it's a little.
What was during Gladiator? It was during Gladiator.
No, it was after that. No, it was
somewhere in between, but it was awesome.
He did a bunch of movies, but this particular role that he was in, he was just kind of an outcast. He likes taking on roles of the outcast.
Exactly. Shunned by my fellow man. Yep.
I'll never forget
about that song.
Yep. Yeah, we can all relate to that one.
Oh, that song. Yeah. Dude, that's your best song, Steve. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's what I've been doing song reviews. I did a few on Reverb Nation, and I did a few on I did one on Radio Airplay, which we're on as well. That's Django Radio. Okay? And I don't know yet. I have to look at and see if the review is done. It should be done by now. But Outcast, Life of the Damned, Silence, and Love Cell. And you want to know which countries they like us the most? You're going to be surprised. Mexico and Israel.
Yeah, well.
I remember we were talking about you've got live recordings from Mancini's.
Yep.
And the best one show that you guys ever did at Mancini's, and you led off with Outcast, was the opening, because normally you guys always opened with Heil Troy, which you changed for Mind of the Mannequins.
We changed it to Funky Flying Saucer.
Yeah, we did an experiment, and it worked. We pulled it off.
Got that burp.
And what it was is Strider was singing, Strider the drummer, but he was doing the lead vocals at the time too.
Yeah.
And we did an experiment. We had a huge line outside of Mancini's to club, and Strider was dressed up as a homeless guy, and just purposely was going around, can you spare some change? Can you spare some change? And he was being outcasted by the entire people in line. And we packed the house that night. That was one of those nights that we actually packed the whole house.
I missed that.
You were there. You were pointed against the wall, remember? You couldn't see. You couldn't look at the audience, otherwise you would freak out. There was way too many people. But that was the one where we did the cow and the flying saucer.
Oh, that was the best performance.
But we opened with Outcast, and we brought out the trash can, the metal trash can, and he was inside of it. And he had been outside for 2 hours while people standing in line, mooching money out of people dressed up as a bum, homeless guy, and people were shunning him like the common man.
Right.
The worst. And then he comes up. That's how we opened the show.
Yeah.
We scratched Hal Troy, and we went into Outcast. And we had the spotlight down on the trash can, filled the room full of smoke. And then you come in with the keyboards, just some ominous music to the smoke.
Right.
And the lid, he comes out like Oscar the Grouch, steps out, and then you just hear this silence from the crowd. Because I'm up in the sound booth, and I'm looking down at the whole floor. Everybody's below me, and just the looks on people's faces. They're all talking. That's the guy that was just out there. And then he starts singing that softly, the intro. An outcast of mine, shunned by my fellow man. And he did that. He scanned the crowd and then just went into it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the whole band joins in.
Yeah.
Outcast am I. Lights on, and the whole show started. We freaked those people out at that show on that particular show.
You did some good gigs, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I'll contact you guys, and then I'm gonna get some material ready to go, and then I'll email you, using Dropbox and all that, and then we'll. Okay. But anyway, I gotta get going. I gotta get up early.
All right, Steve.
Right.
You go ahead. You hang up.
Put that equation I gave you up on the board.
No, are you kidding? No.
Your kids are gonna bing off the wall if they figure that one out.
No, I work with these kids on geometry, and this year it's geometry and.
I got one saved for you on that one.
Yeah,
I'm a tree.
Some calculus, for the more advanced kids. I only work with geometry and algebra 1 kids.
Well,
anyway.
this one's fun because the kids get to draw, and they start from a hexagon, and it's all Da Vinci. It's a Da Vinci code because it's Da Vinci's writing.
Right.
And the more and more you do the geometry and adding, that everything is all the same. It's how you look at it.
Yeah.
And once you look at it in a different way, you see a hexagon, you see an octagon. You see a quadrilateral triangle. Right. You see a dome. But they draw it, and as they keep drawing it, the more and more you draw, it fills in, and it's the secret to the universe.
Yes.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, Steve. We'll see you
Good
later.
night, Steve.
Good night. Okay, dude. We're gonna keep going here. We're gonna keep going.
Sure.
Hear me.
Just don't break your headphones.
I wanna talk about the debate tonight. Now that goddamn fly that landed on Mike Pence's head.
That was the best part. That was the best part of the debate.
I want to reference that to my situation right now. I'm still isolated for COVID, which I have not had a single symptom for. Mike Pence could have easily been exposed to COVID by that stinking fly. That's
Exactly.
my point. Because that fly landed on his goddamn head. He has that white hair, and there's a big fat black fly, and it was there. And
we all saw it.
I know, and I could see Kamala Harris was trying not to laugh. Okay.
Yeah.
And because he was so serious, right?
Yeah.
And he could have easily been. And that's my point.
The funny part about it was it was a racial subject matter.
Yes.
About black and white, and the
black fly lands on his white head.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean,
and it's just unbelievable.
I saw that, and I was looking. I was scratching my screen, and it's like, oh my god,
that is a goddamn fly.
She's looking at him, and she's like holding back the
and
laugh.
He has no way of knowing. He has No way of knowing. Now, my point is,
the poor fly was stuck to the hairspray.
It was there.
I can't get free. Can't get free.
I know it's trying. I'm sure that when they took him off the camera,
shit ran into
somebody
the
had to come over and
plexiglass.
say, "Hey," because after a while the fly was gone. Somebody probably said, "Hey, you got a fly on your head. You got to get rid of that." You know?
Oh yeah.
And it's like the whole thing is, okay, you know where I stand politically, and I don't want to get, I'm deplorable, okay, folks? I'm fucking deplorable, okay? And I wear that badge with honor, okay?
I'm the exact opposite. I don't.
That's okay, and that's perfectly okay. See, that's the thing, is
drives
that
people nuts.
I know it drives people nuts, and it's like it's perfectly okay to fucking-agree. It's fine, it's all right, because that's how you get to a point where you can function.
Yeah.
Is work it out, okay? Now, Stormcrow and Mind of the Mannequins and all that is a horrible example of that. Just see Spinal Tap, folks. Okay, now check this out. I wrote it all down. I wanted to get to this. My laptop was dying. I had to give it a little bump, but here.
Sorry, I'm using my battery's dying.
I know, yeah. Okay, now. All right, I wrote this shit down.
What?
I wrote this. Okay. Preposterments. Okay? These are the commandments of Preposterthree, of the Preposterous Podcast, okay? I got preposterment number 1. Okay. There must be a total of 11 preposterments composed.
Can you do it in Latin?
You could do it in Latin.
You could do it in Spanish. Castilian Spanish.
Okay.
Beginning
with this one being number 1 and one only.
What only?
Therefore, there must be a total of 11 preposterments. There must not be 10, but 11, and not 12, but 11, and only those recorded. I wrote really bad. Okay. Only once.
Good.
Okay. So that's the preposterment. That's the first one. We are the Committee of Preposterous Preposterists. That's you, me, and Steve right now. And When Mary Met Cindy, I don't know what that is, and Surrealists. Okay. Preposterthes are poetic iterations of theories of preposterous existence.
That was your third white Russian. You wrote all that down.
Yeah. Oh, the prepostometer. The prepostometer is a system of measurement not to exclude or include light speed in a vacuum cleaner.
That
measured
was my
time,
idea.
parameter, vertical, horizontally, and diagonally. Except on Tuesdays, which has no system of measure yet double effective.
That's right.
Okay.
So
So this is what we do. Since we don't have Steve, we can't give a fair measure of.
Yeah, you have to have 3 minimal for a quorum.
Right. And this is the
vote.
scale. You do a scale of 1 to 11. Okay, 1 to 11, and you can do
won't
like
remember. We'll just tell him that he did it.
Yeah, and what it is, each of us will give our level of prepostometer measurement. Okay, we'll have to decide how it's measured. How it's measured will it be in inch water? Okay, so we'll have to figure out how it's measured in inches. It could be. We'll have to figure a measurement of prepostometer, and then each of us gives our see, we're going to do this in a sort of a democratic yet electoral college manner, where each of us gives our own measure, and since it's 3 of us, we take that, add it all up, divide it by 3, and that gives us the prepostometer measurement of that podcast.
It most definitely must be a prime 3.
Okay. That's at least 3. And it can be however many people we have on that podcast. Each has to give a measurement. And if it's 5 people, we'll divide the full measurement by 5 and come up with the average. And that's how it will be done.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay. All right. All right, man.
Preposterous mean times of measurement. So that includes the ruler. We have a ruler. That's you. You started this. You are hereby. I hand you the ruler.
Yes. Okay.
Take
the ruler.
it from.
I have the ruler. We hit. We have to tap our heads.
I'll bring the tape measure.
Tape measure. We need a bell. We need a cowbell. And that's because we have to have a ritual for the measurement.
Well, we can always take minutes, and we always have.
Okay. Right.
I need new batteries for this guy.
Yeah, you
Stephen
do need
Hawking's
new batteries.
dying.
I can't even understand what it's saying. I don't understand stuff like that. There you go. All right, man. I love
that. Kids love playing with that thing. That's why it's broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this.
We'll divide it. We'll divide it by 3.
By 3, and
pi.
Not less than 3.
We can always divide it by pi.
Pi. Yes. That's If it's 3 of us, we divide it by pi.
Speaking of that, I love. You know how I love messing with people's brains.
Yes.
And we're talking about time. We do linear time, and I always I like to test people. It's like, we're going to talk about something, and bring something to the table, please.
Right. Exactly.
So I'll do this. I do this thing where, like a chalkboard. I do a timeline, and I put a 0.
And
I go forward, and backwards, and I use our calendar as a reference, because people want to. When did the calendar start?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Yeah, well, it goes to Gregorian calendars that we use now, but it also comes from the Julian calendar, which comes from Julius Caesar. But it was off a couple of days. But it's all based around the life of Christ. People don't know that.
I know.
Because
AD.
In the Jewish religion, they're in year 553, something off the top of my. Stevie would know because he's married to someone who is Jewish and goes to temple regularly. So
yes.
They know that. So, but there's other calendars. But anyway, I just do a basic timeline. 0 is starting
right now.
Basic.
Right.
Well, no, it starts with the birth of Christ, and you go forward. The AD, meaning Anno Domini, the year of our Lord, or BC, before Christ, or BCE, and you go backwards in times.
Right.
All right. But if you do just a regular number, just positives and negatives, plus negatives and negative numbers going the other way, you start at 0. And you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it repeats 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And every 9 numbers are all divisible. There's a math Tesla 369 theory. All those numbers, if you add them together, whatever, can reduce down to the number 3. And the same succession go down the line. But here's a thing that people it'll twist your brain, is you go 1, 2, 3. You get to 3, and all of a sudden you've got this equation called pi, 3.14. It goes on into infinity. Well, numbers go on to infinity that way, and numbers go on to infinity that way. But all of a sudden you get to 3,
infinity.
And there's a piece of pie that goes that way to infinity.
And God is God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
To infinity. Very interesting.
And beyond.
All right, man. I'm gonna hit the sack, man. I've drank two Kahlua martinis, and I'm.
You confuse me when you say that, because I know what you mean, but when he says hit the sack, it is possible that he's actually saying, I'm going to go hit the sack.
Yes, I'm going to
break it.
I'm going to break it.
Get a sack.
It's going to
rip
spill.
If it's paper, whatever.
All right, man.
Bed, kick around, whatever.
We're gonna end this here. Remember, folks, Richard's What's Cooking Mama Pasta Sauce.
And we will get Richard as soon as possible.
We will get Richard as soon as possible. You think this was interesting? You ain't seen nothing yet. Okay? All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, man. I'm gonna shut off recording now, and like Mind of the Mannequins page on Facebook, like the page, and we are on
YouTube and
Spotify. We're on Django Radio. We're all over the place, man. We're on Twitter, Mind.Mankins with a K on Twitter, and check it out. I'm not shy about my political views, so be ready for that, man. So here we go. All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
See you.